بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على عبده ورسوله نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Chapter 12 of Riyadh as-Saliheen, the abridged version, states باب الحث على الازدياد من الخير في أواخر العمر. Towards the end of one's life, you should try your best to perform more righteous deeds. You should strive even harder, put more effort, put more focus, put more concentration, be more generous, be more stingy with your time, and be more diligent with regards to performing khair, whatever that khair may be. Physical khair, helping people out with your body, your strength, your muscles, financially giving sadaqah, paying zakah, charitable functions, helping people out with your clout, interceding for someone, giving someone a good word, making sure that the younger people get good jobs and go to school and get married. Helping people out with your knowledge. Towards the end of your life, the scholar should be more busy with teaching, should be more busy with writing books, should be more busy with spreading and passing on, bequeathing all of his ilm towards the end of one's life. Anything was what? Khair. Or the khair that's your own personal khair. The dhikr of Allah, the recitation of the Quran, crying over your sins, making hajj, making umrah, whatever that khair may be. So he says that this chapter is meant to encourage you towards the end of your life to work harder and to try to pile up and stack up as much good that you possibly can before death comes to you. You don't know when death will come to you. 60-year-old man may live for another 30 years, and he may die in a day. The 70-year-old, 80-year-old man who said he's old, he's about to die, he may outlive people that are younger than him. You don't know. But there's no doubt you reach that peak, it's towards the end of your life, without a question. And your best days physically are in the past. Mentally, spiritually, different story. Your best days may be ahead of you, but you're not getting younger. Your teeth are not growing. Your hair is not growing. Your muscles are not increasing and enhancing. In most cases, you're not having children. In most cases, you're retired from work. In most cases, you don't have the spring in your foot that you used to have when you were a younger man or a younger woman. So therefore, after Nawawi rahimahullah talked about al-mujahadah, fighting yourself, struggling against yourself, sabr, yaqeen, sidq, tawbah, al-ikhlas. He talks about something which is specific, and it is towards the end of your life to do as much khair as you possibly can. Now, unfortunately, we live in a time and a place and a culture in which many of us have the exact opposite philosophy, the totally different, totally contrast. And when people get older, towards the end of their lives, they start thinking backwards, and they start thinking that they're younger, and I can be younger, and I can look younger because of I like to go to the gym and work out, and what I eat and how I dress, and the type of music that I listen to, and the people that I hang out with. And that I'm fighting age. I'm fighting age. I'm going against it. I'm understanding this? I'm turning the wheel the opposite way. I'm going against the tide, against the upstream, whatever the case may be, however you wish to word it. And of course, there's nothing wrong with a person being quote unquote healthy. And there's nothing wrong with someone being physically strong. There's nothing wrong with a person looking after his skin, his body. There's nothing wrong with that. And feeling young at spirit. There's nothing wrong with that in general. If you do that with a limit and with balance, with moderation. But the concept of fear of death, hatred of old age, the concept of remaining foolish and performing the same acts of foolishness and buffoonery they used to perform when you were 19, 25, 30, 40, something is seriously wrong. Of drinking alcohol, of partying, of chasing girls, of buying this and being a spendthrift and showing the things that people do when they're younger out of foolishness. And this is the culture today. Many people like this. And they feel just because they eat a certain vegetable or drink a certain juice or have a certain bar or go to the gym that they're never ever going to die and death is never going to come to them. And those who don't do it and don't live their lifestyle, you're going to die. You're going to be sick. And that's not always what? The case. There's a balance, of course. But there has to be a stage in your life in which you mature, you progress, you move forward. I'm older, and there's nothing wrong with being older. However you wish to word it, elderly, there's nothing wrong with that. The things that I can't do physically, I can now have far better mental powers. I can guide the youth. I can spend more time with my grandchildren. I can do what I couldn't do when I was younger. So one door is shut, and maybe 2 or 3 doors that are open up for you. And from those doors, that should be opened up, and you should strive to make sure that they're open and run through them when they are open, is to do more good deeds when you get older. It's to do more good deeds when you get older. And there's some people that are like this. If you think about when you were younger, some of the kindest people to you, some of the nicest people were older people. Some of your fondest memories of your grandfather, your grandmother. Every time you see her, she gives you some candy. She's nice to you, give you some money, take care of you. 20, 30, 40 years ago, she may not have been like that. But she got older. Some people that were vicious, that had a great deal of hatred with them. When they became older and weaker, or stroke, or had prostate cancer, or this happened and that happened to them, you find the venom has left their body. They're nicer people now, they're calmer. Everybody understand this? And they realize that death is closer. Everybody understand this? So this is a very important balance for the Muslim always to have. Take care of your body, look after your health, look after yourself, but at the same time, death is going to come. And if you just eat all vegetables and you don't eat no cooked foods, it doesn't mean that you're going to live longer. You're going to live according to your what? What's decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are reasons behind having health and maintaining health and safety and protection. Yes, of course. But it's all qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the most important thing that you should look after is your good deeds. Is your what? Good deeds. Your good deeds. That's the only thing that matters. Everybody understand this? Moving forward. An-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, قال تعالى أولم نعمركم ما يتذكر فيه من تذكر وجاءكم النذير. Allah says in Surah Fatir, chapter, Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentions here in the 35th chapter of the Quran, Surah Fatir, verse 37, أولم نعمركم. Allah asked the question, He posed the rhetorical question, He says, have we not given you a long enough life? Have we not granted you respite in which a person who wishes to make reflection and remembrance could do so? And on top of that, وَجَاءَكُمُ النَّذِيرُ. A warner came to you. You lived long enough to think and to use your brain. You lived long enough. And on top of you living long enough, a messenger, a warner, what? Came to you. The Prophet of Islam, the respected messengers and prophets of the people, and also their followers, those who warned them of death, of resurrection, of righteousness. Don't be a miser, don't be stingy. Don't mistreat the orphans. Everybody understand this? Don't cheat the people in their scale. And the list goes on. A warner came to you, warning you from these evil deeds of vice. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال أعذر الله إلى امرئ أخر أجله حتى بلغ 60 سنة رواه البخاري. Abu Hurairah has narrated, the Prophet ﷺ said that whenever Allah allows a man to reach 60 years, he's cut off all excuses. If he's given him life of 60 years, then there is no excuse for him to live what? To the age of 60. So how about 70, 80, 90, 85, and the list goes on. قال العلماء معناه لم يترك له عذرا إذ أمهله بهذه أو هذه المدة يقال أعذر الرجل إذا بلغ الغاية في العذر. He says the scholars of Islam say about this is that there's no excuse when a person is given this length to live, or this span to live, his lifespan, this age. Now, a very important point that many people, alhamdulillah, they try to look after elder Muslims, elderly people, grandparents, so on and so forth, senior citizens, non-veterans, which is a good thing, and it's needed. And it's oftentimes neglected in many Muslim communities. They have programs for youth, they have programs for women, they have programs for brothers, they have this, they have that, but it's nothing for the senior citizens. No lecture, no conference, no breakfast, no benefits, no van to pick them up, to take them to Jumu'ah. It's nothing. And then, alhamdulillah, some of the brothers and sisters who do try to make programs and resources for them and help them out, look after them, in most cases, you find it's just pertaining to material things. Food and drink, medicine, fitness, leisure, sports, take them on some type of, trip to just have fun. Most cases are like this. But the spiritual nourishment that these senior citizens, these elderly Muslims need as well. They need da'wah. They need to be taught. And just because you're old and you raise children and grandchildren, it's not an excuse to disobey Allah. Nor is it an excuse to become lax. Everybody understand this? It's not an excuse for you to just give up now and just do what you want. And, oh, no, don't say, no. They still are Muslims. And they need to be reminded, just like anyone else needs to be reminded. The respect of them, it's unquestionable. That's unconditional. You respect them, you look after them. Everybody understand this? But they still need to be reminded as well. The last hadith of the chapter, the author says, وَعَنْ جَابِرٍ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمَا قَالَ النَّبِيُّ صلى الله عليه وسلم يُبْعَثُ كُلُّ عَبْدٍ عَلَى مَا مَاتَ عَلَيْهِ رواه Muslim. Jabir ibn Abdullah narrates that the Prophet ﷺ says, each and every slave will be resurrected upon what he died. He'll be brought back to life. He'll be resurrected upon how he died. In other words, what he did towards the end of his life. So if a person was upon righteousness towards the end of his life, then inshallah he'll be resurrected in a good way. If he died in the actual state of ibadah, in salah, in sujood, naam, on hajj, umrah, naam, on the actual battlefield. Everybody understand this? Then inshallah ta'ala he'll be resurrected in that good state. And the opposite, unfortunately, is the what? Is the opposite. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ has warned us about certain acts and certain people who perform them acts. And from them, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, وَأُشَيْمِطْ زَانٍ, the three people, the types of people that will have a specific punishment on the day of judgment. Allah will not speak to them, He will not look towards them, He will not purify them in their sins. Hadith Abu Dharr and others, and Sahih Muslim and others. Okay? Other Sahaba, another place they mentioned, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, from these three types of people, and from them he says, Ushayimit Zanin, he says, there's a man whose beard is black and gray, and he still makes zina. He's still a fornicator, even though he has gray hair. In other words, the fitna of women, as the Prophet ﷺ said, مَا تَرَكْتُ بَعْدِي فِتْنَةً هِيَ أَضَرُّ عَلَى الرِّجَالِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. Naam, is not a fitna as great that I leave behind upon men and women. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ. Men are inclined towards women. That's natural. That's natural, and vice versa. So a man he has gray hair, he still likes women. However, he's supposed to be wiser. He's supposed to be smarter at this age. He's supposed to have more self-control than the young, foolish boy who's young. He's led by his desires. 19, he's young. He's not, you see what I'm saying to you? Let alone physical strength. He's handsome, he's this, he's that, chasing women. But the older person, you're not talking about Muslim, you're talking about just age now. He's supposed to have a bit more control. He's supposed to have experience and went through life a bit more. And he's supposed to have daughters and granddaughters at that age. I'm still fornicating and disrespecting someone else's daughter and ruining someone else's home and sleeping with someone else's wife. I'm supposed to be beyond that, past that. Everybody understand this? So the concept of age, it is supposed to, not all the time, it doesn't necessarily do it, but it's supposed to bring and necessitate hikmah, wisdom. And that's why age is associated with wisdom and foolishness is associated with youth, which is not necessarily the case. It could be someone who's young and wise, someone who's old and foolish. But that's not what's presupposed. That's not what's what? Presupposed. Just like it could be an old man who's strong. And the young person, old man and the young person could be weak. But that's not what was presupposed. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to allow us to live long, full lives upon His obedience. And towards the end of our lives, work harder and concentrate even more. Wallahu alam.